Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. There are 146 new cases of COVID-19, including 15 in our zone. 7 of the new cases are in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 53 active cases. There are 1,516 active cases in the province, including 178 in the Northwest. Our zone has the 3rd highest number of active cases in the province, behind only Saskatoon and Regina. 178 people are in hospital, including 18 in the Northwest. More than 50,000 people have been vaccinated province-wide. Leaders around Saskatchewan gathered for this year's virtual Municipalities of Saskatchewan convention, and Lloydminster Mayor Gerald Albers took the opportunity to speak with the provincial government about Agriculture Association. Eric Bay has more on those conversations.
Forced to limit occupants or cancel events altogether, ag associations like the Lloyd X have been dealing with reduced income since the beginning of the pandemic. Mayor Gerald Albers spoke with Saskatchewan ministers at the Municipalities of Saskatchewan convention about providing aid to the province's associations.
The message I wanted to make sure the government got was we heard they'd supported junior hockey and WHL teams in Saskatchewan. We also have heard from the exhibition that it's been tough slugging. They've went 10 months without basically a real source of income.
The X has been creative over the past year, working through restrictions to put on its Stockade Roundup, and says the community has been supportive throughout the pandemic.
We have a few things that we've started, a few different revenue streams, and we also have some more things to announce. So we are excited about the future, and our board has been working very, very hard this past year to look at what we've done and modify it to suit the current situation.
Albers hopes the government will put COVID aid towards ag associations, noting the many events the X brings to Lloydminster.
It's near and dear to many people's hearts. It plays a huge role in this community. So if we can find some funding from the provincial government to help them get through this, we would greatly appreciate it.
The X has streamlined its process to cut costs and is looking ahead to the spring, where it hopes relaxed restrictions will allow a steadier flow of income.
We're confident that the future looks bright once we can get past these next few months.
Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Yesterday at Onion Lake Cree Nation, they reintroduced bison into enclosed area on the land, a plan that has been in the works for a few years. Onion Lake Cree Nation residents attended the ceremony that saw 33 Plains bison from Elk Island National Park released into the newly built paddock. For Chief Henry Lewis, having the bison return is very important for their residents.
You know, is also a big part of our ceremonies. You know, that's why, you know, as a leader, I'm a lodge keeper, and that's why I really welcome the initiative. And also in relation to that, these other areas that will be benefiting. I talked about tourism that we can benefit from. I talk about our student body, you know, being part of the curriculum.
I was so excited. I brought my whole family here to welcome home the buffalo to our homelands. And it's just a big symbolistic for our family, our community.
Onion Lake Cree Nation started the process to bring them home back in 2017. With other priorities coming first, it was put on hold, but they continued the discussion for years, which gave them the opportunity to welcome them back.
It'll bring back, you know, memories. You know, it'll encourage the students, the youth to inquire more about the buffalo when they see them, and that'll motivate them, you know, to relearn the history and the importance of the buffalo had instilled in our people way back.
Parks Canada is excited they get to return the bison to the land they were hundreds of years ago, and since the bison population in Elk Island National Park grows around 20% a year, that is why they send out bison to these communities.
Because Elk Island is a relatively small park and it's fenced, so the bison can't leave the park. Also, we have limited predation in the park, which means that every 2 years we need to send surplus animals out of the park just to keep the population from expanding to be too large and damaging the ecosystem in the park.
Chief Lewis is hoping that the bison population will expand over the next few years to help provide to the residents. WestJet announced new service suspensions today that will disrupt flights between Lloydminster and Calgary. For more, we go to Tate Laycraft.
Early this morning, it was announced that WestJet will be temporarily suspending service to 4 domestic locations in Canada. Those include St. John's, London, Medicine Hat, as well as Lloydminster. To talk about the details of these suspensions, I'm joined currently by Morgan Bell, who's an advisor for WestJet's media and public relations team. Thanks so much for joining me, Morgan.
No problem, Tate. Thanks for having me and WestJet.
So to open things up on a basic note, what can you tell me about the decision to make these suspensions?
So obviously this is a devastating decision. These decisions aren't easy for us to make, but right now we are operating at more than a 90% reduction year over year. And honestly, given the economic realities created by quarantines and restrictions, we did have to make the decision to suspend service to Lloydminster, which we operate via our partnership with Pacific Coastal Airlines. The silver lining to that, though, is we do hope to be back. So we're aiming to be back for June 24th. So it is just a temporary suspension.
And not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but what kind of potential do you think there is for an extension on these disruptions?
Like I said, we're hopeful. There's a lot of different variables at play right now with the aviation sector and essentially demand. So really right now what we're saying is that our ability to return to markets is directly correlated to government policies. And with the uncertainties ahead, there's a lot of unknowns with relation to the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine. We are really advocating that Canada prioritize a domestic travel program and hopefully negotiate a clear policy with provincial governments. So that's our Alberta government here and our local and municipal governments on that kind of approach to the safe restart of travel and tourism.
And with these suspensions set to kick in on March 19th, what's the protocol for flyers who might already have flights booked beyond that date?
Lloydminster is, yes, it would be the first of the suspensions. It's March 19th, and we were operating 2 times weekly there between Calgary and Lloydminster. So essentially, we are proactively contacting guests. We definitely ask that they wait to be contacted so we can reach out to them with alternative travel options or different opportunities. I realize Lloydminster is a unique community. I've been there many times for hockey tournaments and different things. It is a drive. I know that is a challenge for Lloydminster, so I definitely understand that it's even tougher for the community. But like I said, we really hope to be back and to be able to carry the citizens of the community soon.
Thanks so much for your time, Morgan.
No problem, Tate.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking right now, clear skies throughout most of the day, and of course, we're starting to see the sun a little bit past that 5 o'clock mark lately, as opposed to when we saw it go down around that 4:30 mark. But minus 12 was our daytime high, and what we're currently sitting at right now does feel a little bit though like minus 18 with the wind chill, but that's minor compared to what we saw over the last week or so. Now, take a look here at some other areas. Pretty warm for the most part. Minus 9 there in Vermilion, Vegreville, St. Paul, and Bonnyville. Minus 2 out in Edmonton right now. Minus 6 for Cold Lake right now as we look down into the southern part here with Macklin at minus 10. North Battleford and most of Saskatchewan still a little chillier at minus 16 for North Battleford currently, minus 13 in Maidstone, and minus 14 for St. Walburg, minus 14 in Meadow Lake, and then minus 13 up in Green Lake. So here's a look at what we could see as we go a little bit more in depth to the regional temperatures in North Battleford. We'll start with here, minus 23 overnight with a little bit of clear skies and a bit of cloud coverage, going into minus 6 tomorrow. It's going to get a little bit warmer for North Battleford for tomorrow as we look ahead into Cold Lake overnight. Minus 6 right now, as I mentioned, with some clear skies as well. Minus 18 is expected for the temperature overnight, going to minus 7 for the daytime high. Possible chance that we could see some flurries in some areas here, and that does include us here in Lloydminster as we look ahead to overnight for us here. Minus 17 expected, so it could be a little bit closer to that minus 30 range there, potentially with that wind chill there. And minus 5 is our expected daytime high for tomorrow with, again, a little chance of some snow for tomorrow. Now, looking ahead into the weekend, we are going to have a very gorgeous weekend ahead of us here. 0 degrees degrees on Saturday. For the first time, we'll see some positive temperatures there, and then that we'll also see on Sunday at +4 is expected as our daytime highs. We look at our lows there. It'll still be fairly warm for the morning at -10 on Saturday and then -6 there on Sunday. So a great weekend ahead for us here. If you want to get out, enjoy some of the outdoor activities that we didn't get a chance to do last few weeks because of the extreme cold. That's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Welcome back. The Thorpe Recovery Center is getting ready to launch an online mental health initiative created with the additional challenges that COVID presents in mind. Becca Day has more.
I'm here with Chelsea Alt, Community Supports Manager, to learn more about Thorpe Recovery Center's new mental health resources. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
So to start, for anyone who may not know, what services does Thorpe Recovery Center provide?
The Thorpe Recovery Center provides support for individuals who are experiencing addictions, adults over the age of 18, and we support individuals with both process and substance addictions. So that would be any of your substance, alcohol, or other drugs, and then process addictions such as sex addiction or eating disorders and gambling.
So can you talk a bit about these new online mental health resources and what they consist of?
Yeah, we were really fortunate to receive some grant funding through the Alberta government through their mental health and addiction COVID-19 community funding grant. And through that initiative, we were able to put together some online resources for our clients and the general public to access. So we're going to be meeting with community partners and discussing kind of what kind of challenges they face during COVID, what individuals can expect to see different now that we're operating under this, the new regulations with COVID, kind of to try to just ease some of the anxiety that our individuals might experience accessing some of these services. And as well as that, we're going to be doing some online presentations of some programs promoting short and long-term psychological coping strategies to increase the capacity in individuals to cope during these times.
Perfect. You did touch on it that you received a grant to fund this new program. How did it feel receiving the grant?
Oh, we are just so blessed, I guess is really the word. Yeah, we're just really excited. It was a great initiative by the province. It's really nice for the province to recognize that our clients and kind of our vulnerable Albertans are really struggling during this time.
Perfect. You again touched on it already, the process of how you're gathering information for what you want to include in these mental health resources. Is there anything in particular that you already have in mind that you want to include to provide to the public?
Yeah, we're really hoping to touch on sort of all the aspects that our vulnerable population might be accessing. So we're looking at housing initiatives, other mental health agencies, people who support during like family violence, domestic abuse, that kind of thing. Any of the challenges that our population would be facing and would be accessing regularly. We want to just make the process a little bit more seamless and just so that they know what to expect when they're accessing these services.
And will these resources be available to anyone, like the general public, or will it just be for people who have received support from the center currently or in the past or have enrolled with the program in some way?
Yeah, so the resources will be available to all Albertans. You'll be able to access any of the videos on our Facebook page. So then anybody can watch and receive the information there.
Perfect. And is there a release date that we can look forward to?
Yes, our first presentation will be on March 18th, and it's a webinar on trauma and addictions. And our first kind of coffee with community connections is what we're kind of titling our little meets with our community partners. It will also be in March.
Perfect. Is there anything you'd like to add on the topic while we have you?
We're just really grateful for this opportunity and to be able, and we're really grateful for the support in the community. When we've been reaching out to our community partners, they've been more than receptive to having kind of these Zoom meets, and sometimes they're a little uncomfortable. So we're just really grateful that our community partners are also really supportive of this initiative.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today, Chelsea. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Becca.
I'm speaking with Brian Angstad, the chair for Telemiracle 45. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. So Telemiracle 45 for 2021 is coming up next weekend. For residents who may not know about this, what's this event all about?
Yes, Telemiracle 45 is going to be live on CTV on February 27th and 28th. It's our 20-hour telethon that will start at 9 p.m. and go till 5 p.m. on Sunday for the full 20 hours. So one thing that Telemiracle does is we raise money and for the people of Saskatchewan. All the money raised stays in this province. So it helps people with costs for travel and for medical equipment.
And especially during COVID-19, how was the planning process for the event this year?
The planning process has really changed compared to normal years. We have a bunch of manuals that we normally go through for a normal show, but this year definitely hasn't been normal. So we've pretty much had to rewrite the manual and rewrite the show. So it's going to be exciting. People are going to have to tune in for all the special twists and everything that we have presented for this year's show. We've been working since last March, and we have a lot of special things that are planned. So I can't give away too much information though.
And like you're saying, since last March, I know this event has been in the works for a while now. How has support been for Telemiracle 45 so far?
You know, it's been amazing. It's really inspiring to hear how people have rallied behind Telemiracle. Even during these troubled times, people are thinking outside the box in terms of fundraisers. And I'm hearing about amazing fundraisers from all over the province. They've just had to change their normal ways of raising money, but the support has been absolutely amazing.
And how can residents still help to support with it at this moment?
There's a couple different ways. Well, as of right now, actually, one thing that we did this year, we actually launched the first ever province-wide 50/50. And you can buy tickets for that at telemiracle5050.ca. Or if you want to even donate, you can go to telemiracle.com. You can donate now, or you can wait for the telethon and call in.
And can you expand a bit more on where this event will be aired online?
It will be aired online on telemiracle.com, as well as live on CTV.
And is there anything else you want to add for residents to know about concerning Telemiracle 45 for this year?
Just tune in, watch the show. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have a lot of little twists, and you can donate today at telemiracle.com.
Well, perfect. I'm excited to see how Telemiracle 45 will turn out this year. Thanks for joining us today, Brian.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'm joined today with Lola Palik. She's from the Southridge Play School. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today, Lola.
Hey, you know what? When it comes to play school, I love talking about it. So
it's the 40th year of Southridge Play School. Can you just tell me a little bit about it?
Okay, so Southridge Play School was started at the Southridge Church by a lady called Rosalie Copeland. When they moved, they thought, you know, it was over, but a group of parents came in and started it as a nonprofit parent-run play school. So we are nonprofit, we're parent-run, and we're here to offer service to kids 3 to 5 years old.
And so pre-registration has started for the fall. Can you just tell me what parents need to know if they're interested?
So kids need to be with other kids. So the good thing is we've been given the green light, like in this past September. We are now considered essential workers. So parents just, we're doing our open house on March the 2nd from 1 to 8. We're kind of keeping it open a little bit wider. Usually we just do it in the evening, but this way parents can kind of come. We'll have, the whole thing, hand sanitizers, you have to wear a mask. We'll have pens, we have clean pens, used pens, and parents can come in and see what our building's all about, what we're all about. We're recommending not to bring kids just because, the cleaning, etc. Normally, I'm very open to having the kids come, but, with the way things are, we, parents can at least come in and see what we have.
Now, you were mentioning the pandemic earlier and how you were just given the green light in September, but can you just tell me a little bit more about how the pandemic has affected the play school?
We definitely had to get rid of lots of our toys, because with cleaning, you can't have, as many toys as what we have. But I try to keep it as normal as we can, within the protocol and the guidelines of what we're given. It gets really interesting because we are an Alberta licensed play school, but we have to follow Saskatchewan. So our licensing officer has had to really, look into what is expected for us. We try to, of course, maintain everything that we're supposed to maintain to follow the guidelines.
So why do you believe it's so important to be able to give kids an opportunity to come to a play school as a place to be around other kids and also learn?
I think the big thing is the learning through play, the socialization, the learning to listen to another adult. Like we have a routine, it's very flexible, but it gives kids just a chance to get out, especially right now. Like there's not a lot of places kids can go. This just gives them the opportunity to meet other kids, to get that social skill in, just because, once you start, they'd say the early childhood, the early years are the most important for things like social skills and, learning to get together, play together, etc.
So for parents who are out there that are looking for a little bit more information or want to contact Southridge, how are they able to do so?
They can, we do have a Facebook page, or they can call me on my cell, which is 780-872-9523. If people can't make it on March 2nd, they're welcome to give me a call and we can arrange to have, other times to come in, so that they can come. And I think that's the important thing, is for them to be able to come in and see what we have.
And is there anything else that you'd like to add today that we didn't get to touch on?
It's really sad because I was hoping, with having 40 years, there was 3 play schools when we first started 40 years ago, and we're the last original play school in Lloyd. And I would have loved to have done a huge, have a cake, have all my past parents, presidents, etc. come, but we can't do that. I have been with play school 27 years. So maybe on my 30th, anniversary with play school, we may be able to, have a big celebration. So,
you'll have to make it up then, hey?
Yeah, then we can kind of do the, whole play school and me, and yeah.
Awesome. So, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today.
Oh, I sure didn't mind. And like I said, there are play schools in Lloyd. So, we're not the only one. And I'll say that. So, but, I definitely suggest people come and check them out.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. -5 for tomorrow, 0 on Saturday, 4 degrees on Sunday. We have a nice weekend ahead here. 2 degrees on Monday, -2 Wednesday. Looking ahead to Wednesday, could see some more snow there at -6. And as we look ahead to Thursday to wrap up the 7 days, -4. So we're back to kind of normal temperatures, but we'll see a gorgeous weekend ahead.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.